One, two, three, four. Alright, now that I'm done syncing up the audio like always, the person who eats the deer ran after it, but not all of those who ran after the deer got to eat it. So, demotivate yourself, hell no, because at the end of the day, at least you ran, you got the work in, and even though you didn't eat, at least you ran. Now the thing is, right, with studying is boring, right? Because you don't get results. You don't get results for the studying you do today. You don't get the results tomorrow. You don't get the results next month. It's like for you, right? If you're in India or anywhere in the world, you basically have like years, There's probably like 2 or 3 terms in a year, and you have to give those, unit tests, midterms, final exams and shit. But the thing is, right, for most people, studying is boring because it doesn't really give you results early on. And also because it just looks useless. Like, why am I reading all these words again? Because I don't think I'll ever use that shit. And it's boring, so it's like, why am I even studying? But the thing is, right, for most people, right, for most of us, I let me include myself in this. For most of us, we aren't really creative geniuses. We aren't really people who can profitably have a talented skill which will help us get through life like very smoothly and stuff. I mean, there are people who went into fashion, who went into gaming, who went into very artistic works, and they were successful. But that is like a very small set of people. That's a minority. And most people who pursue that shit, they fall apart, or they just don't make enough money, or they just lose their talent halfway through. Because, okay, who's drilling, man? I'm recording here. Stop it. Not like they're gonna listen, but I said that to seem like I have the authority to. Anyway, why should you study? That's the big ass question, right? Why should I study? Because you were gifted this, right? If you can watch this YouTube video right now, you are a very lucky person in the world. Not because this YouTube video is some kind of goal you're finding, but because you have the ability to. You have like a device, right? A phone, maybe a Samsung smart fridge, I don't know. And you have access to the internet, which you are using for great use. So yeah, it's like we are a lot more gifted than we think we are, and we have to make some use of that. And nobody's coming to save you after your parents like retire, lose their talent, or even just straight up die. What's gonna happen to you? You really think someone is gonna take you under their wing? No, that's not gonna happen. And even if that does happen, nobody wants to live a life in which they're just being carried by someone else, having someone else do all the work for them to enjoy. Because that's a very leech way to live, right? So let me tell you what I did while studying. For context, I had my boards during the worst month of my life. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, worst heartbreak, I had chest pain, everything. Thing is, what I used to do is the whole 2 years, right, 9th and 10th grade, I just had the books with me. I didn't. There were like weeks or even months. I didn't read a single word, but I just had the book with me. And some days it was like, let me just, the book's already open. Let me just see what's inside. And let me just examine this stuff. And that led to just, purely just learning stuff, not because I wanted to, but because I was bored and it seemed like something interesting. When you have the thing with you, it's like very hard not to use it or look at it. Like, your phone's always with you. It's on the table, whatever, beside you. And that's why you're addicted to it. That's why you keep looking. Same thing happens with a book. If it's like right there in front of you the whole time, you're bound to read. And what I used to do is, I didn't do this whole Pomodoro technique, Feynman technique. Take a shit on all those techniques, man. Because it's like, when you are that low where you just haven't studied at all your whole life, it's all just been pure luck. For me, I believe it's been pure luck. Right? There's no way this thing works that well. Anyway, what I used to do is, I used to study, and there was always something going on. Maybe I'm texting someone, maybe I'm playing Clash Royale, maybe I'm watching YouTube shorts, reels, whatever it is. But I always had something going on to feed my mind. Sometimes I had like slow-go videos playing in the background. Sometimes I had a movie playing in the background. Sometimes like a whole ass Kanye album playing. And I wouldn't say it helped me to study. It didn't help the studying process, of course. But it helped me not want to off myself and burn this whole book down. Right? And that's the point where some people are right now, because we aren't struggling individuals. We get food straight to our mouths, fed, well slept. I mean, definitely not well slept, but I have the ability to sleep really well because I have a bed and I have air conditioning. But the thing is, like, we are really lucky, so there's no hunger for us, right? As we get everything served on a platter. And you and I, we got everything served to us. I'm not saying that we are some rich, spoiled kid, bozo, stupid ass people, but we are very lucky compared to some individuals out there. And what being in the middle means that you have no hunger and you don't even have money to support you your whole life. So basically, you are kind of, yeah, from both sides, you are kind of messed up. But being in the middle also means I have the resources. I have more resources than someone who's poor, broke, whatever, living in Atlanta or something. I have more resources than that dude. Of course, I have less resources than the dude in Atlanta. But the thing is, those people, they're not with themselves, right? Whatever. So, I have more resources than the poor people. And I have more hunger than the rich kids. Right? Of course, I have more hunger. That's why I feel the need to, make myself better or, work, study, whatever it is. And if you're like me and you have multiple talents, but like they're not looking at being profitable anytime soon, you might as well study, right? And energy feeds energy. So if you keep studying, you'll actually want to study, right? For me, having that book in front of me, watching reads, of course I love to watch YouTube shorts. Yes, I want to watch that speed video of him, doing some weird shit with Ben. Of course I want to watch that. Oh, I'm watching this and there's a book with me, so I can just read and watch. It's like the video I made about the limbic system. It's basically like the limbic system chases pleasure and stuff. So why don't I work while giving myself the pleasure without the pleasure overclouding my ability to work? See, this method, it works for me because I am like an autistic piece of shit. Of course I'm not autistic. I'm very far from autistic, maybe. Like this guy. So, the thing is, right, you need to study because no generational talent, no talent that can affect a generation. So it's like you can barely get by with what you have. So you might as well start studying. And if you truly believe that you can not study and still find some way to make a living, maybe even be one of the greats at something, then sure, pursue it. But for most of us, right, we are dog ass at most stuff. And we haven't really discovered that one niche thing that we're really good at. And until you find that and make it possible, because even after you find this one niche thing that you're like really good at and better than everyone else, it gets to a point where the ceiling is so high that you have to grind out and work hard regardless. So yeah, just study, bro. Just study. Because you want to have something to fall back on. Right? If you see, not having a plan B sounds cool and all because it forces you to go all in on plan A, right? That's what neuroscience suggests. But the thing is, neuroscience doesn't give a shit about the real world. And when you actually do mess up in the real world, you can't just keep going like an idiot. You're going to look like a buffoon. And when you look like a buffoon, people think you are one. Right? Regardless of your work ethic, regardless of your obsession, if you look like a weirdo, people are going to treat you like a weirdo. And very few are lucky enough to deal with that and still make it through, because people will be against you, right? People aren't just gonna be like criticizers all the time. They can very well be violent. So yeah, you can be crazy, you can take the risk, or you can take the safe route, or you can do both. You can do both. You can do everything. You can be everything. I mean, you can be anything but not everything, but you can be a lot of stuff, right? Everyone has the same 24 hours. Make it work, man. Make it work. And I know you can do it, right? Because everyone can. We're all the same people, same species. All have the ability to do the same shit. It's just someone has more talent, someone has more physical capabilities, someone has more mental capabilities. But that differentiation isn't really a huge factor unless you consider it on a global level. Right? So keep studying. Work hard, brother. Work hard. It's gonna pay off. Trust me, it'll pay off. Good night.